is the CCP's campaign to compel ideological conformity does not stop at China's borders. Rather, the CCP seeks to extend its influence around the world, including on American soil. All too often, for the sake of short-term profits, American companies have succumbed to that influence, even at the expense of freedom and openness in the United States. Sadly, examples of American business bowing to China are legion. Take Hollywood. Hollywood's actors, producers, and directors pride themselves on celebrating freedom and the human spirit. And every year at the Academy Awards, Americans are lectured about how this country falls short of Hollywood's ideals of social justice. But Hollywood now regularly censors its own movies to appease the Chinese Communist Party, the world's most powerful violator of human rights. This censorship infects not only the versions of movies that are released in China, but also many that are shown in the United States theaters to American audiences. For example, the hit movie World War Z depicts a zombie apocalypse caused by a virus. The original version of the film reportedly contained a scene with characters speculating that the virus may have originated in China. But the studio, Paramount Pictures, reportedly told producers to delete the reference to China in the hope of landing a Chinese distribution deal. The deal never materialized. In the Marvel Studios blockbuster Doctor Strange, filmmakers changed the nationality of the major character known as the Ancient One, a Tibetan monk in the comic book. Changed it from Tibetan to Celtic. When challenged about this, a screenwriter explained that if you acknowledge that Tibet is a place and that he's Tibetan, you risk alienating 1 billion people. Or as the Chinese government might say, we're not going to show your movie because you decided to get political. These are just two examples of the many Hollywood films that have been altered one way or another to please the CCP. National Security Advisor O'Brien offered even more examples in his remarks, but many more scripts.
Hey y'all, a member of my Patreon, make sure you go ahead and click my Patreon link below. Become a member today and help support my content. All right, you guys, so let's just go ahead and jump a little bit into this story. So there you see William Barr basically talking about China's influence on Hollywood. Now, if you've actually been paying attention, like actually, and not just being force-fed what your nightly news entertainment is feeding you, you would already know a little bit of this. So I talked about this previously, with a lot of people having a very visceral reaction as Donald Trump was giving China a lot of heat about this virus and basically how it's impacted like the world globally. And, you know, possibly, and still there is much speculation that this was, you know, chemical warfare, okay? So a lot of people that were taking up for China at the time, oh my God, you know, protect little old China, don't talk about China. What they don't know is that, first of all, this pandemic has even more so exposed this. We are so heavily dependent on China, okay? China is a big supplier of our medical supplies, things that do with our have to do with like our pharmaceuticals and things like this. They've tried to hoard those supplies. They have tried to hoard pharmaceuticals. They have sent us faulty supplies and PPE. You have a country that has I mean, done so much that I don't think the average person even realizes. So that's just on the lockdown side, okay? And then you go into talking about how China is buying up a lot of land, particularly in places like California. You've been finding, they have been finding Chinese spies. China has been basically spying on us and stealing like technology and different ideas. You have AI, artificial intelligence, and things like that. They are basically trying to, in a lot of ways, subdue the United States as it comes to technology and economics, okay? Not even to mention that China is a communist country. People are literally sitting here trying to defend a country that is known for extracting organs and tissues from prisoners, okay? They have things like re-education camps. They have, you want to talk communism? These people have a social credit score where they spy on their actual citizens. This is why I talk about technology so much and us being very aware of, oh, this might look cool. They're presenting us to it in this way, but how is this going to affect our privacy and things like this? I even made a whole video talking about, is the freaking virus, is it communism? Because now that the lockdown are happening, some of those things that you see happening in China are trying to be ushered into here. So a lot of people's reaction to some of the sternness with China, I really just didn't understand, okay? Now we go into Hollywood. So you see William Barr here talking about how China teams up with people in Hollywood, not only to censor speech, right? But they use money, they use economics to serve their interests. You can't paint China in a certain way, in a certain light. You can't talk about certain things. They're teaming up with people in Hollywood to also get into more technology. They are buying out box offices in big numbers. This is influencing our media and what people see, okay? I need y'all to understand that money and politics highly influences Hollywood. And that brings me back. I don't see what people don't want to see or understand about this, but this brings me back to one of my biggest things that I've been pushing right now. Entertainers are not leaders. They are not. How is it possible to be a leader? How is it possible to tell the truth? How is it possible to be balanced and nuanced? How is it possible to give your own actual opinions when you have to speak on the behalf of your sponsors? You are working in favor of your donors. So everything you speak on is going to align with that. And I talked about LeBron and how he was one of the biggest examples of this. And this is not to go super hard on LeBron. I know naturally we're going to talk about, what's at our own front door because we relate to these topics and things going on more. But when you literally have China and Hong Kong, it comes up as a national discussion. Everybody's talking about it. And this guy calls, I think the guy's name was Mooney or something. And he says he's not educated. He shouldn't talk about it. Basically trying to make him hush. Why? Because you have money. You are being funded by China through your Nike deals. Okay. So until people are ready to realize that entertainers, Hollywood, celebrities, athletes, they are beholden to their sponsors, where they're getting money from. We can even bring this to the whole Nick Cannon thing right now. He was very stern, and this doesn't have anything to do with China, but I'm just, it's relatable. He was very stern about his position and what he said on his podcast. I don't know who called him up, pulled his cards, what kind of dirt they had on him, but now he's basically going on a freaking apology submission tour. Like, they're literally basically making an example out of him. And if people can't, at the very least, say what they want and have that freedom of speech, and they're going to have to retract everything they say, because one of those sponsors is on their line like, look, if you want to keep these lights on, if you want this little place in Beverly Hills, whatever, you need to get in line with these talking points, and we're going to type them up and email them over to you. So yes, Hollywood is colluding with China, and Hollywood honestly is colluding with a lot of politicians and corporations as well. And so before y'all try to put people, you know, on a pedestal, or, you know, think they're this or they're that, if you think any celebrity, if you think, I won't say any, because Boosie didn't retract his statements, okay? But if you think majority of celebrities will step out of the line or the box created for them, you are sadly mistaken. Y'all continue to uphold these people as heroes and leaders, and that's just not the case. They're working on behalf of their donors and their sponsors. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Leave your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.